And joining us right now, as you can, or you will see, you can see, is Michelle Fisette. She's from the Titleist Performance Institute, and she joins now. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Awesome, awesome. Thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Certainly have a lot to get to with you and a lot to talk about. I want to get to the physical therapy stuff in just a second, but I want to start here. Last week was International Women's Golf Week. I think Tuesday was International Women's Golf Day. So just talk about how did you get into the game of golf? Where did you start playing? How did this all start for you?
Sure. So I got into the game of golf at the age of 5. I was really young. I started at Buttonhole Short Course, and I took a lot of lessons there. And I think the most important thing that they taught me were the fundamentals and etiquette of the game. So that's kind of where I got my base knowledge. I then went on to join RIWGA Juniors, and I played in there until I was about 18. So I won second place in the state championship in 2010, and 2011 I came in third place in the state championship. So more recently, I'm now a member at Lake of Isles, and I play in a lot of RIGA events, so you should be seeing my name out there soon. And I'm currently training to play in the women's amateur coming up.
Now, when you say you're training, excuse me, what kind of training you do? How much practice are you doing? And obviously you mentioned you're at Lake of Isles. Obviously, we have a few mutual friends, so I hope that you're beating those guys pretty badly every day.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I try to,
But what's your training? I mean, what's your practicing like? What's your how much you practicing? What's that been like so far?
So as far as training goes, I'm actually implementing a lot of the Titleist Performance Institute techniques and mobility drills into my training. And I've actually found insane differences in my length and my shot average, and it's been awesome. So unfortunately, I don't get to practice as much as I would like because I do work full time as a physical therapist, but I'm out there every weekend, Saturday, Sunday, usually Mondays are my RIGA events. So I spend lots of time in the bunker, and it's not where I always want to be. I always want to be out on the course, but I do find time at the driving range every weekend, and I'm actually taking some tune-up lessons at Lake of Isles as well. So that's what I've been implementing into my training recently.
Now let's get into some of the physical therapy. Obviously, you went to school for it. What was fascinating in researching and trying to learn a little bit about you before this interview was you've literally traveled all over the world for school.
Yeah.
And I'll let you get into the details, but you went from URI to Scotland to Arizona, and Lord knows where else. So just talk about the schooling, but also the travel part of it and why the world travel.
Sure. So I started my bachelor's degree at URI in kinesiology. And so I really wanted to branch out after that. I knew that I really wanted to do something big. So I was really drawn to Scotland, obviously for the golf aspect of it, but that's not solely the reason. So I was really interested in the clinical experience there. And it's a little bit different over there. In the United States, you only get to do 3 clinical rotations, but in Scotland, I had the ability to do 6 clinical rotations. So I was in hospital, I was in home health, I was an outpatient, I was in cardiac rehab, pulmonary, a little bit of everything. So that really drew me to the program in Scotland itself. So I got my master's degree there, and they are actually a sister school with Northern Arizona University, which is where I finished my degree in Flagstaff, Arizona, and I finished my doctoral degree in 2019 there. So it was certainly interesting. Actually, one point that I should note is when I moved to Flagstaff, I thought miraculously my golf game had improved, but realized I was in the high elevation. So I was getting about 30 to 40 yards more per shot just because of the high elevation. So I found that very interesting as well.
Tell me when you were in Scotland that you got to play at least a little golf while you were going to school.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I think my coolest experience was playing Kingsbarn Country Club or
Nice.
golf course about a week before the Women's Open, and my name got announced on the first tee. So I think
That's
that was the
awesome.
coolest experience I had. Yeah.
One more question. Do you, given the fact that you've played true link style golf, do you like it better? Do you like the European style better, or do you like the American style better?
I have to say I like the American style better, mostly because it's not only the conditions on the golf course that are difficult, but the weather almost never cooperates there. So not only are you trying to hit out of thick, thick grass, but you've got wind coming at you and rain and it's wet and your club slipping out of the hand. So that was definitely challenging.
That's so funny because I just read an interview or listened to an interview from a bunch of tour pros that said the exact same thing. They'd rather play in America than Europe just because of the weather, flat out.
Yeah,
Now,
I agree, 100%.
now, so you get through school, you play some golf overseas, tons of fun. You come back here. So you currently work at Contrology Physical Therapy. I hope I pronounced that correctly. In East Greenwich.
You did, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, perfect. So free plug to them. But most recently, you become a certified Titleist Performance Institute rehab instructor. Now, that's of course the whole reason why you're on, which is awesome. So just talk about how that came about and what kind of responsibilities do you have with that. Where is the Titleist? Where is the institute? Is it a physical building, or how? Tell us about that.
So the actual institute itself is located in California, but they train hundreds of people every year to become Titleist Performance Institute instructors. So in terms of the instructors, there's the PGA professional that works on the actual swing. There's a personal trainer that works more on the fitness, and then there's a medical level. So I am medical level certified. So I knew that I always wanted to take my physical therapy careers down the golf path somehow. So I found this program. It's run by Mark Blackburn is one of the people who helped teach the class, which I'm sure you may have heard of him. He's on the Golf Channel all the time. So I had the pleasure of meeting him and learning so much from him. So the TPI program started in 2003, and they have studied thousands of golfers since 2003, ranging from the top level professional to the weekend enthusiast, as I like to call it, which is me in that category. So they have lots and lots of data on all players of all different levels and skills. And they use that data to figure out how a properly functioning body can allow a player to swing a club in the most efficient way possible. So I had the pleasure of learning a 16-step screening tool, and I use that in my practice all the time when I have my golf clients. So that will be like the initial assessment part of it, is basically doing a head to toe analysis and seeing what parts of your body are strong, weak, flexible, not flexible. We go through mobility, stability, proprioception, and balance. And then I put that together along with video of your swing, and we combine those components to figure out what it is that you need to get more distance, more power, more rotation, hit the ball straighter, all of that good stuff.
Maybe she can help you with the 3-putts.
Maybe, yeah. Can you?
It's doubtful, though. It's very doubtful.
Probably. So that all seems pretty intense. So what? When clients come to you, I mean, I guess you kind of just went through it, but what are they looking for? What would somebody come to you for? Just for strength, or for rehab, or what kind of things would people specifically come to you for?
Sure. So I get people who come to me both for injuries, who are in pain. And then the other aspect of it is they just kind of want to know how they can tune up their golf swing. So in terms of the injury component of it, low back pain is by far the number one problem in golf. And it's typically because there's a mobility problem going on or a core strength. So I like to say that the glutes are the king of the golf swing and the abs are the queen. So I kind of figure out where their strengths and weaknesses are and address those to help them swing better with less pain. So it's a little bit of both, of a component of pain versus people who just want to improve their balance, improve their mobility. And I think that's the best part about my educational background, is that not only do I know how to assess a golf swing, but I can put that component together with the physical aspect of it. So I'm obviously knowledgeable in all of the orthopedic conditions. So I think what I wanted to kind of touch base on was the misconception that people will look at videos of professionals and they say, I want to swing like that. but maybe their bodies aren't allowed to swing like that. Maybe they've had a shoulder replacement or a knee replacement or a fusion in their back and they can't get that rotation. So that's when I can guide them along and say, you know what, maybe you're not going to look exactly like that person swinging the golf club, but I guarantee you that I can find you another efficient way to swing the golf club that's not going to cause you pain, but still going to get you the distance. And I think that's the most awesome thing that I have about my degree.
Fantastic. That was a great answer.
That's what she's here for. She's here for great answers.
Jeez. So without giving any tips away, but what advice would you give people who play golf? I mean, we play 2-3 times a week, hopefully sometimes. The average hacker, what tips or advice would you give for to stay in shape and to stay limber and mobile and all that?
Number one thing that I see that people do wrong is I almost never see anybody warm up on the driving range. So they'll get right up to the mat, they'll start swinging away at the ball, and that's where most of the injuries can happen. So our body, it's really important for our bodies to have a really nice warm-up period of at least 5 to 10 minutes. So that's usually where I start with my clients, is giving them a good warm up to get their muscles warm, get their joints flowing and moving a little bit easier, swing oil as I like to call it, and get them moving a little bit better. So that's my number one tip that I would say that is important. And secondly, it's addressing the pain. So a lot of people will say they'll be on the 12th hole and they'll say, well, I only have 7 holes left, I'm just going to finish out the round. But it's really important to recognize your pain and know when you can push past that pain versus when you need to stop.
So if I want to make an appointment with you, I don't necessarily have to be in pain, right? I can just have you, like, I could come up to you and say, make me better type of thing with mobility and stuff like that, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes. And if, I'm not sure if we'll get into it a little bit later, but there's a lot of treatment options that I have in my tool bag, as I call it, or my toolkit, that can address mobility, stability, balance, and I'm very hands-on. I'm a manual therapist, so I have a lot of options other than just exercise. That's part of my skill level, and part of my doctoral degree is all of the hands-on skills that I have to be able to get your joints moving better and your muscles loosened up.
Well, let's get into it then. We have plenty of time. Talk about some of the treatments that you can offer and you can do, and what talk about some of that. Go for it.
Okay. So at our practice, all 3 therapists are dry needling certified. So I got my dry needling certification last year in 2020, and I'm actually going to get my level 3 certification in another month. So basically, dry needling is similar to acupuncture needles in that they're the same type of needles, but dry needling uses more trigger point therapy. So I'll get right into the area that's affected. So if your knee is hurting, we'll needle right into the knee joint itself, and that helps you get mobility. It helps the chemicals get flowing and the blood flow moving in your body to help stimulate the healing process. So that's one of the tools that I use daily in my practice. Cupping is the other one. So I usually ask people if they've seen Michael Phelps, because everyone knows Michael Phelps and cupping. So cupping is another great thing. It gets a lot of blood flow to the muscles, and it helps pull the muscles up away from that fascial component underneath, and it helps to loosen everything off really nicely. This is another thing that I have. And I use instrument-assisted massage. So a lot of people have heard of Graston techniques. It's basically a metal tool that I have in the clinic that I use to help ease off the muscles, relax everything. It's a little bit of a deeper tissue massage. And then lastly, hands-on. So joint mobilizations, soft tissue work, soft tissue massage. My hands are very valuable themselves. So those are primarily the tools that I use in the clinic to help people get better, other than the exercise component. So exercise is also very important as well. But it's a little bit of a combination of both, manual and exercise.
So if people want to get in touch with you, how do they go about doing that? Do you have a website or a link, or how can somebody who wants to make an appointment with you contact you? What's the best way?
Sure. So the best way is to call the office. So I can post the contact details after we're done here, but best way to call the office. But we do have a Facebook page as well. At Catrology Physical Therapy is our Facebook page. And then I can also be reached via my email as well. So that's the best way to schedule. As far as the golf clients go, I always take golf clients Wednesday afternoons and evenings, and then Saturdays. And then we can potentially make an individual appointment during the week if those times don't work for you. As far as regular physical therapy goes, we're open Monday through Friday for physical therapy appointments.
Awesome. Well, do you have anything else?
Well, we should hire her to stretch us out before the next guest. I mean, jeez. Maybe we'll play like one or two shots better, maybe, if that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
At least we won't damage anything, you know?
See, our problem is, like you were talking about, like swing oil and warming up.
We have a different type of swing oil.
Yeah.
You know what that, yeah. So it's of the alcoholic variety.
Yeah.
So.
That's the problem. That must be it.
That's it right there.
All right. Glad that we figured that out. This has been awesome, Michelle. Listen, thanks so much for coming on. Time flies when you're having fun. But we'll post any information that you have. Feel free to send it to me privately, and I can post it. We'll put links to all your stuff as well, and we'll blast this out in a video. Well, it's already on video, but we'll blast it out on our website tomorrow morning, and it'll be on eBlast and everything else. So thank you so much for coming on, and good luck with everything, and make sure you keep my buddy Doug in line. All right.
All right, I will.
Don't let him get out of line at all.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. Have a great